political jobs on 2 public payrolls. As mayor of South Suburban Dalton, or as she calls herself, Super Mayor.
Got the meeting wrapped up early because 2 trustees that you mentioned did not show up. Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle. Without them, not enough more.
Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has become one of the most polarizing figures in the region. Her tenure has been fraught with controversy, marked by eviction disputes and allegations of corruption that have fueled intense debate in the small town. Critics accuse Henyard of prioritizing her own interests over the well-being of the community, while her supporters argue that, despite her flaws, her actions were driven by an effort to improve Dalton. The situation took a dramatic turn with the FBI launching an investigation into potential corruption under her leadership. This federal probe has sent shockwaves through the town, raising the possibility of uncovering more troubling details about her financial dealings and governance. As the investigation unfolds, residents are left grappling with serious questions about the integrity of their leadership and the future of their community. The scandal has further deepened divisions in Dalton, with some viewing Henyard as a symptom of systemic dysfunction, while others see her as a scapegoat caught in the crossfire of political rivalries. For a town already struggling with economic and social challenges, the fallout from these allegations threatens to exacerbate its instability. To many, Henyard has come to symbolize betrayal. To others, she is a victim of larger political forces, leaving Dalton in a state of uncertainty and turmoil.
They may turn up more witnesses, they may find a cooperator, they may find an informant, all which will benefit the investigation tremendously.
But based on what we know now,
The most shocking development in the ongoing controversy surrounding Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, dubbed by some as the Super Mayor, is the explosive allegation that she embezzled millions in public funds. According to the FBI investigation, Henyard is accused of orchestrating a scheme to divert taxpayer money into private accounts and using it for unauthorized purchases. Sources close to the inquiry estimate the misappropriated funds could amount to nearly $2 million, a staggering loss for a financially struggling town like Dalton. For residents already weary from years of questionable leadership, the scale of the alleged theft feels like a profound betrayal. One anonymous official characterized the situation as outright theft, pointing to a failure of not just financial oversight, but basic ethical governance. These allegations arrive amid rising concerns about Dalton's worsening financial health. Critics, who have long accused Henyard of reckless spending, now see these claims of embezzlement as confirmation of their worst fears. Earlier this year, a financial report revealed that Dalton's general fund had plummeted from a $5 million surplus in 2022 to a $4 million deficit by mid-2024. This sharp decline has intensified suspicions of financial mismanagement under Henyard's administration. Residents' frustration has boiled over into outrage, with many demanding accountability and justice. At a recent public forum, one community member voiced the collective sentiment: instead of fixing our streets, she's been lining her own pockets. This growing discontent has led to widespread calls for Henyard's resignation, with her time in office now being labeled the Henyard era of corruption. The scandal has left Dalton grappling with a profound crisis of trust in its local government. The community, united in its demand for transparency and justice, faces the difficult task of rebuilding from the fallout of this alleged abuse of power. Whether Henyard's administration can withstand these allegations remains uncertain, but the push for accountability has become an undeniable rallying cry.
The information today, we have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993, and she's the best we ever had.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's decision to seek re-election has ignited a firestorm of criticism, with many Dalton residents viewing her move as ill-timed and emblematic of a profound disconnect from the community's concerns. Henyard, already facing Allegations of embezzling millions in public funds, announced her bid for a second term at the height of a scandal engulfing her administration. For many, this announcement was perceived as tone-deaf, if not outright delusional. At a heated town hall, residents expressed disbelief and outrage, questioning how Henyard could ask for their votes after allegedly betraying their trust. The backlash goes beyond the poor timing of her campaign. It reflects a widespread rejection of a mayor who many believe has failed the town she pledged to serve. Public anger reached a boiling point with revelations about Henyard's personal, financial troubles. Court documents exposed that she and her boyfriend, Sim Woods, were delinquent on rent payments for their Dalton home, owing thousands in back rent and late fees. To make matters worse, Henyard and Woods reportedly changed the locks on the property, preventing the landlord from accessing it. This added another layer of financial irresponsibility to her already tarnished reputation, especially considering her substantial public salary. Adding to the controversy, Henyard faced the looming threat of foreclosure on her property, a situation that struck a nerve in a town where many residents are already struggling with their own financial hardships. Her inability to manage her personal finances reinforced perceptions of her as a self-serving leader, more focused on personal gain than fulfilling her public duties. Rather than addressing the growing demands for accountability, Henyard's decision to run for re-election has been widely interpreted as an attempt to cling to power at all costs. Her campaign, instead of offering solutions for Dalton's pressing issues, has become a symbol of egotism and her disconnection from the community's struggles. Residents have grown increasingly frustrated with what they see as her prioritization of personal and political survival over addressing urgent problems such as deteriorating infrastructure, underfunded schools, and widespread financial instability. Henyard's refusal to acknowledge her failures or take responsibility has only deepened the community's sense of betrayal. Calls for her resignation are growing louder as residents demand transparency and leadership that prioritizes the needs of the people over personal ambition. For many, her re-election bid is less a vision for Dalton's future and more a grim reminder of the town's ongoing struggles under her leadership. As the campaign continues, it's becoming clear that Henyard's tenure is likely to be remembered, not for progress, but for mismanagement, neglect, and self-interest. Whether she can withstand mounting pressure and remain in the race is uncertain, but the public's demand for change and accountability is louder than ever.
Relations with creditors. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting, I did not have it.
Some of those charges are for you, though. You didn't go to Las Vegas.
The eviction scandal involving Mayor Tiffany Henyard has become another flashpoint in a growing wave of criticism against her leadership, fueling widespread public outrage. Once considered a trusted public figure, Henyard's financial dispute with her landlord, Janetta Hall, has come to symbolize the broader issues plaguing her administration. In 2021, Henyard began renting a home from Hall, a former friend who believed that the mayor's substantial income, exceeding $300,000 annually, made her a reliable tenant. Hall even terminated a previous lease to accommodate Henyard, trusting her to uphold her obligations. However, that trust quickly soured. Earlier this year, after Hall raised the rent by $2,200 to account for rising property taxes, Henyard's boyfriend, Sim Woods, reportedly told Hall they could no longer afford the payments. From that point forward, Henyard and Woods stopped paying rent altogether, leaving Hall to shoulder the financial burden. Hall expressed shock and disappointment, stating that a public official like Henyard should set a positive example, not shirk financial responsibilities. Her frustration echoes the sentiments of many Dalton residents, who are already critical of Henyard's financial mismanagement and mounting scandals. This latest controversy has only deepened the community's disillusionment with a mayor whose actions seem increasingly out of touch with the struggles of her constituents. Henyard's fiscal irresponsibility extends beyond her personal finances. Earlier this year, it was revealed that she charged more than $33,000 to the village credit card for Amazon purchases, including luxury items and ornamental decorations deemed unnecessary. These extravagant expenditures drew sharp criticism, with one trustee accusing Henyard of treating public funds like her personal piggy bank. The public backlash intensified as details of lavish taxpayer-funded parties and other questionable spending under her administration came to light. These revelations have struck a nerve in Dalton, a town already grappling with economic hardships and unmet needs. Residents are increasingly frustrated by what they see as Henyard's prioritization of personal indulgence over addressing urgent community issues like infrastructure repairs and financial stability. Her spending habits, which seem disconnected from the realities of ordinary citizens, have amplified doubts about her ability to lead effectively. For Hall, the experience of renting to Henyard has become a microcosm of the broader issues troubling Dalton: broken trust, financial mismanagement, and a failure to deliver on promises. Many residents see parallels between Henyard's treatment of her landlord and her handling of public funds, both marked by irresponsibility and disregard for accountability. As the list of grievances against Henyard continues to grow, so does the demand for her resignation. Once heralded as a promising leader, she is now the subject of widespread anger and disappointment. With her approval ratings plummeting and her support base shrinking, Henyard's administration faces a crisis of confidence. For the residents of Dalton, her time in office has become a cautionary tale of unfulfilled expectations and squandered trust, leaving the community to grapple with what comes next after her controversial tenure.
Right, and like Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard wanted the Board of Trustees to approve some events that she wants the township to pay for, but none of the trustees showed up for this special meeting tonight.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's conduct over the past year has become a lightning rod for controversy, with her behavior at public events and her contentious relationships with Dalton trustees dominating headlines. Town meetings frequently devolve into shouting matches and walkouts, painting a picture of an administration mired in chaos and dysfunction. Henyard's combative leadership style has only fueled the perception that her tenure is defined by disarray and division. One of the most controversial incidents occurred when Henyard reportedly called the police on staff members who were removing banners featuring her image, an action taken under orders from the trustees. Henyard demanded that the workers be arrested for theft of government property, despite the fact they were following directives. The situation escalated when it was revealed that the vendor responsible for the banners claimed the town owed nearly $220,000 in unpaid bills. Making matters worse, the banners had been installed without board approval, further compounding the controversy. This incident became a flashpoint in Henyard's tenure, symbolizing her fraught relationship with the local government. Another significant dispute arose when Henyard unilaterally appointed a new police chief without seeking approval from the board. This move sparked a fierce confrontation with trustees, culminating in public arguments, including one captured on camera where Henyard demanded that officers press charges against her critics. The controversy deepened when state law enforcement records revealed that the appointed police chief was not legally qualified for the position due to an expired certification. Despite this clear violation of state law, Henyard refused to reverse her decision, even after receiving a letter from the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board urging her to comply. Instead, she accused the trustees of undermining her authority, further escalating tensions. These incidents highlight an administration plagued by defiance and disregard for established legal protocols. Rather than collaborating with trustees or seeking consensus, Henyard has consistently chosen confrontation, deepening the divide within the town's leadership. Her refusal to engage constructively with the board and community has eroded public trust and painted a portrait of a leader more concerned with maintaining power than fostering unity or progress. Henyard's tumultuous leadership has left Dalton in a state of unrest, with many residents and officials calling for her resignation. Her actions, whether appointing an unqualified police chief, escalating conflicts over unpaid debts, or clashing with trustees have contributed to a sense of perpetual conflict and chaos. For a town already grappling with financial and social challenges, her leadership style has only added to the turmoil. As calls for accountability grow louder, the consensus among many in Dalton is clear. The town needs a fresh start. Henyard's tenure, marked by discord and defiance, has left residents longing for a leader who can prioritize collaboration, transparency, and effective governance to guide the community toward stability and progress.
Than what we've experienced previously at Dalton City Council meetings. Now, the room was full of Henyard supporters, and they wanted me to be sure to tell you that they applauded her several times as she talked about the township being.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration in Dalton has become a lightning rod for controversy and conflict, plunging the town into near paralysis. Ongoing political infighting, legal battles, and frequent cancellations of town meetings due to a lack of quorum have stalled critical decision-making. As a result, Dalton is struggling to address urgent issues such as deteriorating infrastructure, underfunded schools, and rising community frustrations. For many residents, initial hopes for progress under Henyard's leadership have faded into a cycle of gridlock and dysfunction. Rather than confronting these challenges head-on, Henyard has adopted an increasingly combative approach. One of the most polarizing moments of her tenure came during a 90-minute Facebook Live broadcast, where she lashed out at critics, accused her political opponents of orchestrating a smear campaign, and even threatened to arrest dissenters. The foul rant, widely viewed as erratic and out of touch, went viral and drew sharp criticism from residents who saw it as an attempt to silence opposition rather than address legitimate concerns. "She's completely out of touch with reality," one resident said, capturing the growing disillusionment with Henyard's leadership. In the same broadcast, Henyard compared herself to former President Donald Trump, claiming to be the victim of politically motivated attacks and predicting a landslide victory in her re-election bid. While this rhetoric has resonated with a small but vocal base of supporters, it has further alienated much of the community. Many Dalton residents, grappling with the tangible consequences of her leadership, view these statements as deflections from her administration's failures. Adding to the turmoil, federal investigators have subpoenaed financial records from Dalton, neighboring Thornton Township, and Henyard's personal accounts. Although no charges have been filed, sources close to the investigation suggest the scrutiny could escalate. Henyard has denied any wrongdoing, dismissing the investigations as politically driven. However, the inquiries have amplified residents' doubts about her ability to govern responsibly. Henyard's tenure has become defined by a growing disconnect from the everyday realities faced by her constituents. While she maintains that Dalton's finances are stable, the town's crumbling roads, neglected schools, and mounting debts tell a different story. City council meetings have devolved into tense and polarized debates, with Henyard's core group of supporters clashing with critics who demand accountability. This small but loyal faction has done little to temper the widespread dissatisfaction among residents, who increasingly call for new leadership. For many, Henyard's administration has come to symbolize dysfunction and missed opportunities. Her refusal to acknowledge mistakes or collaborate with the board has deepened divisions within the community, leaving Dalton's future uncertain. Residents feel trapped in a cycle of conflict and scandal, wondering whether their town can recover from the turmoil of her leadership. As Dalton reaches a pivotal moment, the question remains: will Henyard make an effort to rebuild trust and address the community's needs? Or will her confrontational tactics continue to erode the town's stability? With leadership hanging in the balance, one thing is clear: residents are demanding accountability and meaningful change, and their patience is rapidly running out.